It was my pleasure to hold. So gosh, where to begin?
And
So
I'm gonna have to put you on hold here one more time, Travis. Just stick with us. Senate Democratic Leader Chuck Schumer is at the mic.
Let me say a few things. First, the president's lawyers will have their work cut out for them. The House managers did an amazing job and set a very, very high bar, which it will be difficult for the president's lawyers to overcome. The House presentation has been strong, detailed, comprehensive, and at many times compelling. Just drew you right into it. And they successfully, in advance, preempted just about all of the arguments that the president's lawyer will make. They anticipated what those arguments would be, and they answered them even before the president's lawyers got there, and they have to do that because they don't get another chance to rebut the way McConnell set out the rules. Let me pay Hakeem Jeffries an incredible compliment. Hakeem, my fellow Brooklynite, you were as good as Adam Schiff. And he did an amazingly great job. Now, we didn't hear too much about the Article 2 in the impeachment charges till this afternoon, but I believe it's the sleeper. The argument was incredible. It was strong. And it's become clear that President Trump demanded complete immunity, participated in a blanket obstruction, and had absolute defiance. President Trump, in saying he wanted immunity for everything, past, present, and future, said, I'm not a president, I'm a king. And no one can stop me. Nobody can oversee me. Nobody can put a check on me. That is not America. What President Trump has demanded and what justifies the House bringing these articles is totally out of sync with the Constitution, the Founding Fathers, and every other impeachment trial. Neither President Andrew Johnson, President Nixon, or President Clinton had the gall, the temerity, to come close to even asking what President Trump is asking for, which is total absolute. He says, I'm going to defy all subpoenas, past, present, and future. I'm not even going to, I don't even have to wait to see what the subpoena is. I'm not going to answer it. That is so against what the Founding Fathers set up in this country. It is so against what we've had as our tradition, and it is so against the Constitution. The president is, and the president even knows the weakness of his argument, because he says he wants complete executive privilege, but he hasn't invoked it once, not once in this trial, in any of the cases. I'll take a few questions on the subjects I talked about first, but others too.
Senator Schumer, you push back on the idea some Republicans have been talking about related to executive privilege concerns. Do you believe that the Article 2 presentation dovetails and kind of helps your points?
The Article 2 presentation by the House managers decimates Trump and the Republicans' argument. If you have any fidelity to the truth, they just decimated it. And all of the arguments the Republicans cited, Hakeem Jeffries listed, that the president's counsel wasn't allowed to be inside. He listed 10 Republican congressmen who have conducted oversight in exactly the way that the House managers and the House committees did, the Democratic House committees.
Senator Schumer, can we get your response to ABC's reporting earlier today of the recording with Trump saying,
yeah,
take her out?
Have they verified the recording yet?
I think they have, yeah.
The New York Times says they just gave it to House impeachment.
Pardon?
The New York Times says they just handed it over to House Democrats. Ernst.
Yes.
Okay. Well, as long as it's verified, this is the kind of despicable conduct that the president engages in. The despicable kind of conduct. A lifelong public servant, a woman who dedicated her life to this country, and because she's standing for truth and won't let him break the law, he is vicious to her. No president should be like that. Regardless of anything having to do with impeachment, no president should be like that and treat people that way. But he has done it time and time again. Okay? Thank you, everybody.
I think all of us will say something, but I think what we've all seen is 4 days of just partisanship. This has been a very partisan process through this whole charade. If you look, I've been putting out tweets all day about what Democrat senators have said in the past about the impeachment of Bill Clinton, and these individuals have come down here and said just the opposite of what they said back in, 1999, and they've been doing it day after day. So I'm looking forward to the White House tomorrow, starting to set the record straight, because this has just been partisan. They've said the same thing. I don't know how many times I've seen Ambassador Sondland and Fiona Hill and all of them basically say the exact same thing. But I don't believe anything they've said so far is impeachable. But I do look forward to watching the White House present their case.
This is the fourth day that we've heard the Democrats make their arguments. Final arguments are going to be tonight, but I will tell you they've run out of things to say about 3 days ago. That's because the case that they're presenting is weak and it's flimsy, even though they on the floor have said that they have a rock-solid case, that the evidence is overwhelming, and that it is a mountain of evidence. Well, if they've already presented an overwhelming amount, a mountain of evidence, rock-solid evidence, then there should be no need for additional witnesses because they have made their case. Tomorrow, the White House is going to be able to make its case, and for the first time, the defense of the president will be made for the public to see.
The main thing you need to pay attention to is this is now the fourth version of what we've heard from the House. And I've watched the three before, behind closed doors, what was leaked out, public version, the four constitutional experts, and there is not one new thing other than exaggeration, using words like overwhelming, and the dynamic is going to change tomorrow because you're going to finally hear the counterpoint. When you do this in a vacuum and you keep repeating the same thing, you're not going to win this by time of possession. You got to start telling us what's different from what we've heard before. And you're going to finally hear that when we get our counterpoint starting tomorrow.
Well, I am like Senator Barrasso. I'm waiting to hear that mountain of overwhelming evidence. And they have a little over 3 hours, I think, yet this evening where they can present that overwhelming evidence. I just can't wait to hear it. So basically true with everything that we've heard. It's been over and over and over again, repetition of the previous day's points, the hour previous points. But I want to go back because it was brought up, of course, again today, the fact that the president held on to funding for approximately 2 months for lethal aid to Ukraine. And the House managers keep centering on that. They keep going back to that point. But I would remind them that Russia invaded Ukraine in 2014. 2014 under the previous administration. That administration had every opportunity to present lethal aid to the Ukrainian people and allow them to push back on Russian invaders. And yet they did not do that. They did not do that for 2 years, folks. 2 years. And yet we're acting like this is something new, that Russia has invaded this vulnerable country. They keep going back to that, but not willing to recognize it was their own party, their own president that refused to take a stand against Russia and instead cozied up to them and decided not to take a stance to help our friends in Ukraine and allow Russia to invade and gain a foothold for 2 years. President Trump has done more for Ukraine in his short time in office than President Obama did when he had the opportunity to provide that aid to the Ukrainian people. Thousands of Ukrainian lives have been lost because President Obama didn't take that stand President Trump has.